Hello everybody. In today's video, I'm going to make a prediction. Now, it's a prediction, so don't take this as absolute truth. Take this as a probably, okay? Take this as a potentially, realistically kind of thing. Where it could happen, but doesn't necessarily mean it will, but it could. So, let me explain all of this. Okay. In the year 2130, South Africa could just be not a world power, but the world power. The world power. Why? Because in this future, realistically speaking, that would imply three big things that you need to know. One, that would mean China dissolves BRICS because they become so dominant they permanently liquidate BRICS, meaning it no longer exists. It will never exist again. Two, they take over Saudi Arabia and especially South Africa. Now, Brazil and India, not so much, but especially South Africa. And then three, they become so dominant that they basically squish South Africa to the point where they might become a different nationality. I'm not saying that they would become China. I'm saying they would become a different country entirely. And then China would focus on international issues so much that when they come back to start focusing on China again, basically the inevitable will happen and they have no other choice but to only focus on China, but to just let them take over. And then four, those three major things. And, I'm going to include another, which is four. Basically, South Africa will get so demolished that by the time that they slowly start rising from the ashes again, guess what? China will be knocked out by, I want to say, the 2050s. They'll be completely knocked out. And then by the 2070s, South Africa will start getting a lot of power as well. And then it will slowly transition to South Africa as the dominant world power. But I don't think it will fully transition to that until 2130. I think they'll have enough power to fully be there, as in you'll notice it by 2100. But I don't think they'll fully take over the world until about 2030. At least if you're talking politically, culturally, and maybe sports or music wise, maybe even video games, food, movies, TV shows, books. Maybe not so much religion, but it is possible given that it would be so dominant by this time. In China, would just not exist by that time. By that time, they would have been so different and balkanized that they will never truly dominate like they once did ever again, because of how much history they have and realistically of what would happen. So because of this, South Africa, or what is now currently South Africa, will be the dominant country. And whatever the dominant area is, and for some reason they have three capitals, but they will just win everything. Like right now, they might even go downhill, and they might not even exist as South Africa anymore, and they might become a completely different nation. But whatever will eventually take over, take over from the land of what is currently South Africa, will eventually become the world's dominant power. And you might go, well, why? Africa's basically invisible when it comes to news or when it comes to like world power stuff. Yeah, but that's South Africa's biggest advantage. And because they can just quietly take over, by the time they do take over, people will just now start to notice. You know? They'll just really start to notice. And I also do believe that we'll have a original movie boom, so there's that, I guess. But it is a deep, deep theory. It is a big, deep theory that uh, South Africa could be the dominant world power of the 22nd century. Because I'm probably not going to be alive by the time that happens, if it does happen. So, not a guarantee. But what do you think, people in the future? Did this happen? Could this happen? Sounds realistic to me anyway, given what I've seen and what I've known. And right now that might seem laughable given that Africa is, well, Africa. And when I mean Africa, I mean the country of South Africa. But I do realistically see this be an actual future. But the thing about that is that's if China becomes the dominant world power of the 21st century. If it doesn't, and let's say, hey, for example, South Africa becomes the dominant world power of the 21st century, if that ever happens, if or when, then all this is just basically a separate theory of the same, like a separate version of the same theory. Okay, that's basically what that is. I'm just making a more realistic one if things still, like, if nothing too much changes either than maybe historical events in the economy and politics. If that's all that really changes and nothing much in, say, like sports or religion, then it's possible that or wars, it's possible that this could be realistic, and this does sound realistic. But again, if you're watching this, you can make any sort of opinion or thoughts you may have. You can give any of those if you have any. However you make those in the future, whenever you're watching this. But yeah, it's a really big theory. I just wanted to get this information out there because it's just a prediction. But yeah. I don't know what I'm gonna title the video that I'm making, and I'm posting it onto a platform called YouTube. So yeah, I don't even know if you can understand the language that I'm speaking, but if you do, well, that's my theory. So yeah, you can come to any conclusions you have after you're done watching this video. Anyway, after all that's said and done, if I'm proven wrong, I'm wrong. If I'm proven right, I'm right. But regardless, or somewhere in between, this is just the end of it. I'm going to end the video here. I'm going to wrap this up. I'm going to, just generally end the video. But again, if you want to give any opinion, however you do that, you're allowed to do so. Anyway, that's pretty much it for this video. So, what am I going to do? For the theory of why South Africa is going to be the dominant world power of the 22nd century. Something like that, or whatever I'm going to title this video as. Anyway, I am out of here. And, I really do think this with the whole South Africa stuff. So I guess invest in South Africa. Anyway, just remember, stay ugly.